Metal Gear Solid fans, assemble! After nearly 2 decades since its
Years later,
original release,
a complete
Metal
remake from
Gear
Konami
Solid
using the
3
power of
Snake
modern
Eater
consoles
is
has the
returning
potential
in a
to
big
unlock the
way
full,
with a
uncompromised
shiny
vision
new
of the
coat
game's
paint.
original
But
creators.
the big
Instead,
question
this new
remains, is
Kojima-less
Konami's
Metal Gear
remake,
Solid
Metal Gear
Delta
Solid
seems more like a
Delta
very
Snake
shiny
Eater,
HD
the
remaster
return we've
than the
been
elegant
waiting for?
remake it could
Or
have
is it
been.
just
It's an admittedly
another
beautiful nostalgia
blown
trip, but
cover?
almost faithful to a
Let's
fault.
dive in. Now,
On demonstration,
for those
I was
who've
able to play
never
through Metal Gear
experienced
Solid
Metal
Delta's
Gear
virtuous
Solid,
mission, a complete
you might
recreation of
look at
Snake
this
Eater's
series
prologue built
and
in
see
Unreal
a
Engine
whirlwind
5.
of
It
gravelly
looks every
voiced
bit as fantastic
protagonists,
as you'd hope, particularly when it comes to
cardboard
character
boxes,
models.
giant
Faces and
exclamation
clothing are a
marks,
real
and a
highlight.
heap
The jungle
of
is the true star of the show, though,
robots. It
with
can
modern
seem
lighting
like
techniques
an
helping showcase the graphical
impenetrable maze,
overhaul
right?
to every blade
But
of
to the
grass,
fans
every
who've
pool of
roamed
mud,
through
and
Shadow
every
Moses,
writhing python.
Big
If you're a
Shell,
Metal
and
Gear
Telendi
veteran,
Yars.
you'll know that the roughly
Well,
90-minute
this is more
duration
than
of the
just a video
virtuous mission
game.
is
It's a
dominated by
sacred
cutscenes and codec
text.
calls.
The Metal
It's not
Gear
the ideal
series,
section to test drive
especially
any changes
Snake Eater,
Konami has made,
is a
visuals aside,
unique
particularly
blend
since
of
Delta uses the same
high-octane,
dialogue
deep
audio as the
philosophy
original
and
Snake
the
Eater, and
absolute
thus all
best in
cinematics are frame for
stealth
frame
gameplay.
and line for line
It's a world
identical.
where Cold War history meets absurd anime-style excess,
Approaching
all
Soviet
wrapped
airspace.
up in a mystery-filled,
Listen up, Jack. Your
often
mission is to
bizarre
infiltrate
narrative.
Selino Yask in the Soviet
now we find
mountains,
ourselves
ensure
in
the
a new
safety of
era.
Sokolov, and bring him back to the
It's been
west.
nearly a decade since
But
Metal
if this
Gear
slice is
Solid
anything to
5,
go
The
by,
Phantom
any
Pain
gameplay
hit
changes
shelves.
are
And
minimal.
with Snake's
Delta appears to be
absence from
a
the gaming
painstaking
world,
recreation
a
of Metal
new
Gear Solid
generation
3
of gamers
down to
are
the
growing up
millimeter.
without knowing
Trees
the
stand
names of
exactly where they
Volgan,
originally
Ocelot,
stood.
or
The same
even that
enemies patrol the
unforgettable
same
theme
routes,
song.
and frustratingly
Konami
frequent
is
load
stepping up
screens
to
once
fill that
again
void
divide the
with
jungle
remake
into
of
small,
Metal Gear
self-contained
Solid 3
maps.
Snake
This
Eater,
structure,
or as
perfectly
they're
preserved from
calling
the
it,
2004
Metal Gear
original,
Solid
makes Metal Gear
Delta
Solid
Snake
Delta
Eater.
feel so
And
much
guess
older
what?
than
I
its
got
new
my hands
high-definition
on an
visuals. The jungle is
exclusive
small and
demo,
claustrophobic,
and let me
not
tell
because of its
you,
imposing
it's
canopy,
looking like
but because
Metal
of its
Gear
limited
might
play
just
spaces.
be
The
back
loading
in
screens
full
act as
force.
hard barriers,
So,
meaning what happens
how
in
does
one
this
zone
remake
doesn't impact
stack up?
another.
Has
Alerted guards
Konami
can't chase
revived
you
the
into a
magic
different
of the
map, for
original,
instance.
or is it all
This
just
lack
a
of
pile of,
continuity
well,
between each segment limits your
cardboard boxes?
creativity. There
Let's
seemingly no
find
way to
out.
cause
First
distractions
things
that pull
first, Metal
enemies
Gear
into
Solid
investigating
Delta
beyond
is
the
an
loading screen
absolute
boundary, or line up a
stunner.
perfect
When you
shot across
first
the stitching
boot it up,
between
you're greeted
zones.
with a
All of this, of
4K
course, was not
remaster
just
of the
forgivable back in
legendary
2004,
Snake Eater
but
intro,
expected.
and
The
it looks
PS2 simply
fantastic.
couldn't render an
Big
entire
Boss,
seamless play
now
space this
sporting a
detailed,
fresh
but in
character
2024,
model,
the freedom
walks
of Metal
through the
Gear Solid
jungle with
5's
a
sprawling
new
maps,
lease
which would be
of
perfectly
life.
at home
At
retrofitted
first,
into
I was
Snake Eater's
skeptical
Soviet
about
wilderness,
his
is
updated
sorely
look.
missing here. I'm
But
reminded of
once you get
Capcom's
into the
Resident
thick
Evil
of
2
things,
remake, which
those
eliminated the
doubts
original game's
completely
iconic
vanished. The
door-opening
jungle
loading
feels
screens in
alive,
favor of a more
buzzing
immersive,
with
completely
insects and
seamless police
glowing
station. Without
under
a
the
similar approach,
oppressive
I worry that the
heat,
overall
way
play
you
experience of
remember,
MGS
but
Delta
now
won't
with
be
more
significantly
visual
different enough
fidelity
from the
than
Snake
ever
Eater HD
before.
remaster,
You see
available
those
as part
tiny
of last year's
details
Master
like the
Collection
blinking
Volume
red
1,
lights on
a game with a
radios,
much lower price
tranquilizer
point and
darts
packaged
sticking
with
out of
2 other
enemies'
truly
necks,
excellent
all of it's
games.
brought to
After playing the
life
demo, I had the
with a
chance to talk with
modern
Delta's producer,
to it.
Noriaki Okamura, and I
as
asked
for the
why the team
Cobra
didn't
unit?
opt to bring MGS3's map design up to date. We did debate is exactly what
Cobra
you remember.
units?
Konami has made some
Wow,
smart
these
changes
oddball
that
villains
incontestably
who've
make
always
Delta
had
more
a love it
comfortable
or
to play
hate it
than its
charm
parent. The
have
most
been
important
given
is a
an
modernized
incredible
control scheme
facelift.
that works in
The
tandem with the
end,
over-the-shoulder
with
aiming,
his
a feature pulled from
bulging eyes
the
and
original Snake
haunting
Eater used
expression
inputs that had their roots
now
in the
look like
comparatively
something
basic Metal
straight
Gear
out
Solid
of a
1,
horror
but the
manga.
increasingly complex and ambitious boss
Pain's
battles demanded a
hornets,
level of fine control that the scheme
more
simply couldn't
nauseating
keep
than
up
ever
with.
before,
Thankfully, the
and
old fiddly aim mechanics are now gone,
Volgan's
replaced with
scars
contemporary trigger-based
sizzle
gun
with
controls that
lightning
allow
in a
for
way that
easy,
makes
precise
skin
headshots.
crawl.
There's nothing in the
Dilda
virtuous
manages to
mission that
keep
really
that
challenged my
delicate balance of
marksmanship, but I'm
realism
really looking
and-
forward to battling
and
the Fury,
absurdity,
a boss
and
whose
that's a
speed and attack
massive
patterns
win
were
for
an
fans of the
uncomfortable fit
original.
for the original
But
game's
let's be
clunky
real here,
controls.
all the shiny visuals in the world wouldn't mean much if the gameplay didn't hold up. And while the visuals have been overhauled,
Other welcome
there's
enhancements
something else
are a
that's
quick
been
dial
tweaked
system for your
too.
codec, allowing you to
The
access vital
controls.
functions like saving the game by tapping down on the D-pad, while the up button
If you've
opens a
ever
quick
played
select
the
for your
original
camouflage.
MGS3,
The 2 remaining
you know
D-pad
that the
buttons modern cycle
combat
through your
system was a
equipment,
little
which is a minor but solid
clunky.
improvement over the original
awkward
scheme.
animation,
More
the
essential is the
stiff
fact that
movement,
Snake can now
all
crouch walk,
things
another
that
feature
worked in
first included in the
2004,
3DS version,
didn't
which
age
practically
well.
feels like a
Thankfully,
necessity in a
Konami has
stealth
made
game.
significant
Combined with the refreshed
improvements here.
aiming system
Snake
and modern
now
3D
moves
camera,
with much
Snake
more
Eater now
fluidity.
plays much more
Close quarters
intuitively.
combat,
However, I will
CQC,
caveat that
which
by saying
used
it
to
still
feel
does
like a
feel like a
chore,
game from a
is now
prior
much
generation.
smoother and
Snake
more
unfortunately
responsive.
does not move with the
You
fluidity
can
of his
even shoot
MGS5
while crawling
counterpart.
backwards,
Again,
a
it
feature
feels
we
like
first
Konami
saw
has
in the
missed a
Phantom
clear
Pain,
opportunity
making
to bring
stealth
modern
play
enhancements
much
to
more
MGS
accessible.
Delta.
This is a
Provided the
huge
entire game follows
upgrade,
suit with
and
this
it
demo,
makes those
I think your feelings on
hard-pounding
Delta are
stealth
going to
sequences
depend on just
so
how
much
faithful
more
you want this
enjoyable.
remake to be.
They've
If you're a
also
purist,
done
then you're
away
in
with
luck.
the
The new
clunky
MGS team at
control scheme,
Konami
which means
clearly
it feels
sees the original
more
Snake Eater as
intuitive
something of a religious text.
to
But it means
navigate
Delta's
the
creative
environment.
vision is
But don't
held
worry,
prisoner
the
by the
classic
early
elements are still
2000s.
here,
Even the
including the
cutscenes feature the same
ridiculously long
fate black
cutscenes
loading between
and
scenes
the
as the
famous
original.
Kodak
Surely something
conversation.
cinephile Kojima would
Yes,
have exercised
the
if only he'd had
exposition is
access
still
to
there in full
SSDs back in the
force.
day.
And yes,
Beyond the updated
it can
graphics and
still feel
controls,
like you're
there's
watching
nothing
a soap
surprising,
opera
refreshing,
about
or dare I
nuclear
say
war and
exciting about
conspiracy
MGS
theories.
Delta, at least
But
in
that's
this
what
demo.
makes Metal
The only
Gear
significant change we
Metal
did
Gear.
find
Now
was
let's
that
talk
shooting
tech.
Ocelot did not trigger the
Konami's
time
given players
paradox
a
game
choice
over
of two
screen.
performance modes. One for 30 FPs with dynamic scaling between 4K and 14 for T, and another for 60 FPs scaling between 4K and 1080p. I tested both, and while the 30 FPs mode might feel like a throwback to the days of the PS2, the visuals still pop and the frame rate doesn't
It's not
impact
clear
gameplay
if this
as much
omission
as you
is
might
simply
expect.
because the demo is
Still,
not pulled from the
for
final
those of you
version
who
of the
want
game.
buttery,
But such a
smooth
famous
action,
Kojimaism
the 60
being missing
FPs
from the
option
first
is
press
the way
showing
to
of
go.
Delta
But
did raise a
here's the
concerned
catch.
eyebrow.
Despite the
Hopefully it
dazzling
makes it
visuals,
into the
the
full
core
release.
structure of
Okamura
MGS3
told me
still
that he
shows
wanted
its
to
age
avoid
in
a
some
situation
places.
where the series
game
will
is
be
still
forgotten
split
in
into
time,
discrete
and that the goal
zones,
of
and those
Delta
loading
was to make
screens
sure
can
we
be
deliver the
jarring
game
when you're
as
in the middle
faithfully
of
as
a
possible,
high-stakes
so it doesn't
stealth
take away
mission.
from the nostalgic
While it's
aspect.
certainly
That's
faster
a
than the
noble
original,
goal,
those
but I
moments
can't
of
help but feel
disruption
that was the
remind you
job
that
of the Master
this
Collection.
game started
I had
its life
hoped
on the
Delta would have
P2.
seen the team upgrade
small
and
price to
enhance
pay
Snake
for the
Eater with
updated
ideas from the
experience.
Phantom Pain
But
and
it's worth
beyond,
noting
offering the
one of
same
my
story and
favorite visual
objectives,
upgrades,
but in a more modern, more
Snake's
flexible,
physical
and more
damage.
reactive stealth
Whether he's
hunting
crawling
ground.
through mud
That
or
could have
getting
made
caught
it
in a
the remake to
firefight,
topple
his
Resident Evil
uniform
2
shows
from
the
its
wear
perch.
and tear in
Instead,
such a
Metal Gear Solid
satisfying
Delta
way.
is shaping
The
up to be
mud
little more than a
sticks to
prettier,
Snake as
more
he rolls
intuitive
around.
version
It's a
of
small detail,
2004's
but it
most
adds
Will be
to the
Naked
immersion.
Snake.